As a content creator who focuses quite heavily on animation quality, production values and the like, I often find myself on the receiving end of comments like, "Why are you so nitpicky, just enjoy the show," or "just be grateful that insert manga here is getting adapted," and that to me is fascinating. Make no mistake, people do care about animation quality more now than ever before. They do care about the overall production value of a show. If they didn't, shows like Bluelock and Uzumaki wouldn't make headlines. The wrong kind of headlines, but headlines regardless. Do they know about the subject? Not really, not for the most part, but they do care about it. But still, for some reason, putting emphasis on the technical side of anime production is considered nitpicky. Why, I wonder? Perhaps people don't care about the topic enough. Hear me out. Most agree that production value is important, but the common consensus seems to be that at the end of the day, the story is the most important component and the production is just an accessory, and I disagree. Oh, we are getting controversial up in this. I can't say it yet. It hasn't been 30 seconds. I'll get demonetized. I think the all-around production value of a show isn't less important or even equally as important as the story. I think it's more important. There's your hot take. You've had enough weekly slop. Time for some actual content. Buckle up. Also, when I say production value, I'm referring not just to the animation, but also to the designs, the art direction, the storyboards, the music, the sound design, and the direction, which ties all of these things together. Basically, everything that's not the story falls into my definition of production value. And yes, that makes the title ever so slightly misleading, but you clicked on it, I won. Back to the topic at hand, you might think I've lost my mind, that the Sakuga bug has finally taken over my brain. How can the production value matter more than the story? That's like saying the bottle matters more than the drink that's in it. And to that I say, your view is narrow-minded. To build on that bottle analogy, if the story is the drink, the production value isn't just the bottle. It's the chair you're sitting on as you drink, it's the room you're in, it's the color of the walls, it's the movie you're watching as you take a sip, and it's the device you're watching the movie on. Anime is an audiovisual medium, and as such, the audio and the visual matter a lot more than you think. It is possible to take a mediocre story and turn it into an excellent anime through strong production. Of course, I'm not taking any names, Demon Slayer. I'm not singling out anyone, Demon Slayer. But on the flip, alright, I'll acknowledge the unnecessary Demon Slayer slander. You see, I was a manga reader up until the Entertainment District arc, but then I rage quit because of how infuriatingly dull the manga was. However, the anime, which is quite faithful mind you, made me love this arc and the stuff that followed for the most part, which proves my point. Anyway, as I was saying, on the flip side, an excellent story will always be handicapped by substandard production, whether you notice it or not. So just how important is this production value I speak of? Well, let's find out. Let's talk about the individual components that make up this all-encompassing, all-important production value, starting with animation. Hey, maybe the title wasn't clickbait after all. So, the value of animation, which also includes drawing power by the way, is more for certain genres. Action, for example. You can't create a good action scene without good action animation, and since action animation by its very nature is resource intensive, so the value of animation skyrockets when talking about the action genre, which by the way is the biggest genre of anime by far. Like, it's not even remotely close. Here's a question. What to you is the most memorable recent anime fight? Think about it. Chances are it's either Sukuna vs Mahoraga or a One Piece fight. And notice how both options look spectacular. That's the point. Sukuna vs Mahoraga in particular is a textbook example of animation quality being a crucial component of a fight. It wasn't a masterclass in writing, the aftermath was, but not the fight itself, and it wasn't trying to be one. The fight consisted of a mindless monster fighting a mindful monster. It relied fight completely on the spectacle aspect of it, and that was made possible by the animation. But perhaps it's unfair to look at the single most ambitious fight in TV anime history. Not every well-animated fight will look that insane. Is good animation necessary even when it's less ambitious by several orders of magnitude than the aforementioned Sukuna fight? You might have a point, so how about this then? You give me an example of an excellent anime fight that features poor animation and drawings, not fights that were great in their manga form. Good anime fights with poor visuals. Go ahead, there are exceptions to every rule, there might as well be a few. That's what the comments are for. Done? Alright, so chances are you picked older shows or low priority fights from long-running anime as your example. And firstly, the fight you picked probably features good drawings even if you think it doesn't, and secondly, the era of long-running action shows is over. We have seen what seasonal action highlights can look like, and I don't think we as a fan base can settle for anything less at this point. Even long-running shows know that. One Piece, for example, has pulled out all the stops for quite some time now, producing one highlight-worthy episode after another and literally going on break to presumably prevent a dip in quality because they know it'll be disastrous. Basically, long story short, most memorable fights feature top-notch animation, whether it's those well-choreographed fights from Naruto or Cowboy Bebop, or those dynamic action sequences from Attack on Titan, whether it's those flashy fights from newer IPs like Jujutsukaisen and Demonslayer, or those lesser-known combat scenes that put entire shows on the map. The lack of good action animation is a death sentence for an action show. PNGs moving around with poorly drawn effects on top just doesn't hit the same, as the kids say. Animation prowess is also needed by other genres, of course. Sports, for example. Just look at these two recent sports titles, the Haikyuu movie and Bluelock Season 2. Do I need to elaborate? I don't think I do. Basically, the more a genre revolves around a physical action of some kind, the more strong animation it needs. Action involves fighting, a form of movement, and sports involve motion, aka the characters playing the sport in question. In this manner, good animation is needed for storytelling purposes, but what about other genres? Does a slice of life need top-notch animation? Not necessarily, although it can elevate a show. Just look at literally everything Kyoto Animation has ever produced. On the other end of the spectrum, bad animation can cripple a show regardless of the genre. Listen to this bit of audio from Hell's Paradise episode 8. It's an action show, I know, but this particular scene doesn't feature any fighting. Amazing, right? So much emotion packed into the voice lines, which, by the way, is a direct extension of the story. Now look at the visuals that accompanied this scene. It doesn't hit the same, does it? The movement looks comical. It feels like the voice lines are from a different show. Okay, that's cheating. Not every show looks as bad as Hell's Paradise. It is an outlier. That's what you might be thinking, but you are wrong. Yes, stuff usually doesn't look that bad, but stuff doesn't usually look good either. Vivid character acting isn't the baseline of anime visuals. The baseline is a moderately well-drawn frame with a looped mouth flap. Character acting is an increasingly rare commodity, therefore, a large amount of emotional scenes across a wide range of shows end up looking unremarkable. Yes, that happens because of how fundamentally broken the modern anime industry is, but that's besides the point. The point is, as long as a scene features some motion or emotion, good animation is needed. The absence or the lack of it can significantly reduce the impact a scene has on the viewer. Of course, on the flip side, poor writing can be compensated for by excellent visuals. There are countless examples of that. I, however, won't name any. For real this time, the Demon Slayer fanbase was enough. I don't particularly intend on angering anyone else. Animation is important, very much so. However, animation isn't all there is to the term visuals, which has a broader definition. Stuff like character designs, art direction, storyboards and short compositions, the use of colors, etc. all fall under the wider term. People say visuals and production in general complements a story, but I think it does more than that. I think production reimagines a story. Clever storyboards, for example, can give the viewer more reasons to look at a shot, but that's not all. They can pack additional meaning into a scene, and they can uncover brand new dimensions of the story. And as always, poor direction can nerf the potential of an otherwise good story. Besides that, art direction, when well executed, can breathe life into a show. It can make the world feel lived in. Just look at Freeren. Generic art direction, on the other hand, can make the story come off as one note and formulaic. I have covered the topics of direction, character designs, and visual storytelling countless times before, so I won't ramble on for too long. But basically, an anime without meaningful direction is like a car without the wheels. It might have a powerful engine, but it can't go anywhere. My analogy game is on point today, isn't it? All of that was one half, possibly a bit more, of the term production. The other remaining half consists of Now, I'm not including voice acting in this category, perhaps I should, but I feel like it's a direct extension of the story. I'll mainly talk about music and sound direction, and it's fairly self-explanatory. Good, relevant music and meaningful sound direction can make or break a scene, especially important ones. Just think of the sheer number of iconic scenes with memorable soundtracks attached to them. Reiner and Burrito's reveal with Yusi Big Girl blaring in the background, Shoya looking around as Kensuke Ushio's lit plays, the music kicking in as we are given a proper look at what Hira from JoJo Part 4 is like, title tracks from shows like Bleach, Shinsekai Yori, Death Note, and more, and the Ultra Instinct theme from Dragon Ball. I don't watch the show, but even I know about it. Music is extremely important, and so is its usage. There are countless examples of excellent music use in anime. Here are some of my favorites. By the way, I won't actually play any of it, go listen to it yourself. Japanese companies don't play around when it comes to copyright. Gojo and Geto's confrontation in JJK Season 2 Episode 5, despite being a depressing scene, features a surprisingly upbeat OST, and that's because while the scene might be depressing for Gojo and for us the audience, it is liberating for Geto. It's him breaking free from the cycle, and the story is told from his perspective. The fight between Rengoku and Akaza from Demon Slayer is another example of perfect scoring. The fight started with Akaza's theme with this cold, metallic, auto-tuned vocal sample, but as the fight progressed, Rengoku's theme bled into the soundtrack, and by the end, only his theme played. By the way, Akaza's theme was complemented perfectly by the blue colors around him, blue being a cold color. More about Rengoku's theme, it's grand and orchestral, and it sounds warm, and guess what his powers are? Also, as Rengoku got closer to death, his theme, which is symbolic of warmth and life, played louder. And you guys wonder why I think Demon Slayer is so good from an adaptation POV. It's because of stuff like this. Music is more than cool songs playing in the background. They can complement a scene in more ways than one, as I just demonstrated. Somewhat unrelated, but I recently came across a guy who said MAPPA fixed Attack on Titan's ending by playing sad music over the last few scenes. Not really relevant, but I wanted to mention it. When you consider all of those things, animation, visual direction, storyboards, music, sound design, and more, the true importance of production value becomes obvious. There's more to it than making a scene look and sound cool, although that is important. Sight and sound put the audio and visual in audiovisual. Reducing critiques aimed at these aspects to nitpicking is extremely stupid in my opinion. And that just about does it. Bit of a random topic, but I hope it was interesting. That's about it. Liked the video? Check out this other bit of content on screen. Like and subscribe, and until next time.